Dr. Pachauri. This is the 12th Delhi Sustainable Development Summit. What have been some of the major achievements over the last 11 years?
Well, I would say the biggest achievement is the fact that we are able to convene this event and attract some of the best leaders, the best thinkers from all over the world. And I think the whole purpose of this platform is to see that we come up with directions, we come up with insights by which the global community can really understand the importance of sustainable development and also then come up with ways by which they can actually practice it in real life. We are getting a lot more attention. We are also able to spread the message to those who can really implement some of the measures that are required to protect planet Earth and to ensure that human society develops in a sustainable manner.
The theme this year is the global commons. How do you explain this to the man on the street?
The air that we breathe is a commons. It's something that doesn't belong to everybody but has a deep effect on everybody's existence. The same is true of the oceans. It's true of the forests, the Amazon forests. It's true of the ice that is there on the Himalayan range and the polar ice caps. These are commons, and they are nobody's responsibility and yet everybody's responsibility. So what we're really focusing on, how do you ensure that these commons are preserved, they are conserved for the benefit of all living species, not just human society. Frankly, the literature that you have in India, going back thousands of years, has upheld the importance of maintaining the sustainability of the global commons.
Well, with all of that knowledge and information wealth going back to the ancient times, so where are we lacking then?
Well, we've just got so blinded by the lure, the desire to consume and produce more and more without really assessing the impacts on the environment. And I think this is a kind of a frenzy that the whole world is in. If we were to understand the implications of continuing on this path, on a business as usual pathway, then we would realize that this is clearly not sustainable.
What do you expect from the summit this time?
We expect that as an outcome of the summit this year, we would be able to provide an output not only into the official Rio Plus 20 process, but also to the global community whereby they themselves can provide inputs for the Rio Plus 20 process.
Will the DSDS deliberations feed into the Rio Summit in June, either officially or unofficially?
Well, I presume we would be able to provide it both at the official level as well as unofficially. We clearly have to carry out very detailed analysis and come up with insights on what has been achieved since Rio in 1992 and what has not been achieved. And we'll also be able to come up with reasons why things have happened or have not happened. And based on that, we'll come up with some correctives, we'll come up with a new roadmap by which hopefully the global community can really come to grips with the challenge that we are facing. At the official level, we will come out with a detailed statement and submit it to the Secretariat of the Rio Plus 20 Summit. At the unofficial level, we'll make it known, we'll make our outputs known to the world at large, and I hope this will create some degree of momentum by which global society decides what they need to do beyond Rio Plus 20.
You spoke about a certain frenzy. So do you think the current paradigm of growth, which is again very frenzied, can go hand in hand with sustainable development?
It certainly can, provided we placed a price on those activities, the consumption of those inputs, which are obviously having a major externality imposed on society at large, on this planet. across every part of the earth. So I think if we were to correct some of these distortions which exist today, then certainly we would be able to live in a sustainable manner. And there are two other major factors that can make a difference. One is technology, because through the use of the right technology, we can use resources far more efficiently than what we've been doing so far. And secondly, lifestyles. We need to reflect on what our lifestyles are really doing to the future of this planet. And if we were to carry out this detailed reflection, then we would realize that we need to alter some of our lifestyles to bring things in balance.
This year, 2012, we'll see a number of high-profile events on environment, the Rio Plus 20, the World Conservation Congress meet, and we begin this year with the DSDS. Do you think these events will influence the global climate change talks in any way?
I hope they do, but I would say that the biggest influence that really one would like to see as far as the negotiations on climate change are concerned would be the work of the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, which I have the privilege of chairing, because we have brought out the reality, the scientific reality of climate change and everything that's connected with it. We have clearly brought out in our fourth assessment report and the work that has been done previously and through a number of special reports, the impacts of inaction. If the world doesn't take any action, what would be the impacts of climate change? We've also brought out the attractiveness of taking action. So therefore, I would hope that the negotiating community, possibly through all these events which are going to take place this year, realizes the value of looking at the scientific assessment of climate change brought out by the IPCC.
There's been a stalemate on climate change negotiations. I mean, what is your best hope or the worst worry related to the global climate change talks?
Well, the best hope would be that, just as you have in several other global negotiations, that something gives way and people decide to come together and arrive at an agreement. And that can happen. And again, may I emphasize the fact that if people realized and reflected on the scientific realities of climate change, then I think their own resolve and their own determination to come up with an agreement would be reinforced substantially.
And where do you see India in all of these climate change negotiations?
When you have all the countries of the world getting together, then of course there has to be some give and take. We have to look at some basic principles, and we have to also look at the implications of any agreement on different parts of the world. And in particular, we have to keep in mind the impacts on the most vulnerable. India is a country of 1.2 billion people. Yes, we have a large number of people who are poor. We have to ensure that their basic needs are met, but we also have a responsibility to our own future generations to make sure that the impacts of climate change don't become much worse, and therefore their own opportunities to grow and develop and lead healthy and secure lives is compromised in any way.
And do you think the DSDS would be able to influence the government of India's stand on climate change negotiations?
Well, I don't know. I don't think we have any such ambitions or any such intentions. But I do hope that whatever comes out of this particular event, the Delhi Sustainable Development Summit, will create a larger amount of awareness and understanding and perhaps a higher level of knowledge on what needs to be done. And all of that put together, I'm sure will have a beneficial effect.
Dr. Pachauri, thank you very much, and we wish all the success to the DSDS. And the last, is there anything that you would like to add?
Well, all I would say is that we have to realize that the current pattern of development and growth needs alteration. And if we don't bring that about, and we also should accept the fact that we can bring it about, without necessarily going back into the dark ages. In fact, the only thing that has the elements of dark ages is ignorance. Now that we have knowledge today, we should use it for the benefit of humanity and all living species. And if that requires some changes in directions, then clearly human society has the intelligence, has the wisdom to be able to bring it about. And I think we have to devise how we can do that.
So you are optimistic, right?
I'm totally an optimist, and there's never been a single day in my life when I haven't felt that tomorrow, in a figurative sense, will be better than today or yesterday.
Thanks a lot. It
Thank
was
you.
nice speaking to you.
My pleasure. Thank you.